Hello friends and welcome back for another episode of Indie Impressions. My name is Nick and today we're going to be checking out something called Ultimate Wish by developer Carduous, and this is one of the games from the new LD competition. If you're not familiar with what that is, every so often there's a competition that takes place for the course of 48 hours. Developers are given a theme. In this case our theme is You Only Get One, and they are to do whatever they like with that theme, and basically a huge smattering of games comes out of it. Every time one of these competitions has been going on for the last, I don't know, year and a half, 2 years now, I've gone ahead and covered a group of them of my choosing. So our first today is going to be this one, again called Ultimate Wish, and our goal here is to basically guide a character through these landscapes using only this little ball that you can see kind of suspended at the end of his arm, which is essentially something like a force ball with your spirit in it. It seems to project you to teleport to wherever that ball lands. So in a way, it's almost like a fantasy sci-fi golfing game, as bizarre as that sounds, and it's kind of a cool concept. So I thought, let's have a quick look at this one, see what it's like, and I'm sure there'll be much more LD coverage. So again, this is LD 28 with the theme of You Only Get One, so let's give it a try. So we're talking to some sort of a strange little beast there with maybe swords stuck in its back, I'm not sure. This is Yo Genius, I'm your last hope. If you don't want to talk, press enter and I disappear, otherwise just click to hear me, fair enough. It's the end of your life as a genius. As a favor, you'll get only one wish. Really? Am fed up to get my lamp rubbed? Not so fast, bro. You gotta earn that wish in an ultimate ordeal. You have to find your wish in these mountains, or in those mountains. But you get only one way to move, throwing your mind. Good luck. I'll see you till you get your wish. Very strange grammar and things going on there, but no problem. That's just how things are sometimes. So again, this is 48 hours to make a game, which is a pretty daunting task a lot of the time. And I think most of the time I'm pretty impressed. And first thing I have to say, graphics, really nice. A lot of the things that I think make some of the graphics in Super Meat Boy kind of special are present here. We've got like the parallaxing foreground and background effects, the different layers of fog going on. There's a lovely gradation going on, a nice separation of foreground and background, and a pretty well delineated group of collision areas, essentially, where you can tell that you can hit into. You can see there's actually, when I put my character facing this way, his arm actually collides with, there's a tile right here, which is a solid one, and then there's some sort of peripheral edges going around that tile, just to give it a little bit of a flourish, and I think that looks pretty nice. So, you know, the diversity in the colors, the different gradations going on in the background, all of that looks lovely, and I think it looks visually quite lovely. And the only problem I'm seeing right now, obviously no sound effects, can be a bit of an impediment, and in this case, feels like it's definitely hindering things. So we've made it through 2 of the levels already. It's definitely going to be a bit of a short episode. I'm not sure how long this one is, but we'll give it our best try anyway to see. It may end up being like 5 minutes long, but no harm done. I really enjoy how that force ball, if you see in the background, when it goes over things, you can actually see through it. It's got a bit of a transparency to it. I don't know what it is about that, but it makes it look a little bit more fancy, and, you know, sometimes the little effects that make a big difference. Things like the fact that our character's eye seems to be glowing. There's some sort of like a crazy, I don't know, it's like a jetpack, like a fuel source coming out of the bottom of my torso. I'm not really sure I understand the aesthetic of this game. It doesn't seem like it's a consistent theme. The character seems a little bit more like a cyberpunk deal, and then the background definitely feels a lot more fantasy, but it's not that those things can't cross over. I just might not be aware exactly how they work, and I also don't really understand the story very much. Something about being a genius means you've got to throw your mind. I don't really get it, but still, who cares? The story's not all that important. It's a pretty fun little premise. Essentially, like I said, like a sci-fi fantasy golf game, which is a thing I've never even heard of before. The only thing is there's not really a way to lose. I mean, you can keep trying over and over again, and no matter how much you miss or you know, don't perform well, you just keep trying until you eventually will win. So there's not a whole lot to punish you, which kind of diminishes the gamification of the situation a little bit. Not to say that that's always a bad thing, because in some ways it could be kind of frustrating if you're not that good at it, considering, you know, controls are a little loose. Doesn't feel too difficult to get to where you're trying to go, but at the same time you have to kind of eyeball it a little bit. There's no, like, an arc or any kind of visual to let you know exactly where the ball's going to end up when you let go. Essentially all I'm doing is clicking, dragging, and then letting go, and then where the ball ends up is kind of where things are. I can make my unique wish, so I guess I found all the fragments already. It was kind of fast. I want to be human. It's a tough draw. So it's a game by Carduous. And I guess that's a depiction of our developer there for the LD48. Thanks for playing. You're quite welcome. If you're ready, hardcore mode. Alright, so I guess there's actually a little bit more to see. Seems like the type of game that would go well to have a bunch of like secrets and unlockables strewn throughout, because it seems like there's a lot of places that you might be able to go that are sort of off the beaten path, since there doesn't seem to be any kind of like invisible walls stopping me from proceeding off the edges of the world. There's actually a little platform up there which I kind of need to go up to for some reason, even though I don't think there's anything actually there. I also feel like if you shoot the ball off the screen, maybe that should count as like you messed up and it should teleport you there and then restart or something. Or maybe it could do something else. Maybe it could loop around to the other side and you could have a whole series of other puzzles based on that. And I'm sort of listening. I'm imagining what the sound effects would be here, and I feel like it would add so much more to the game, and I totally understand why this isn't a thing. You know, given 48 hours, it's a lot to ask to program a game, make art assets, make sound assets, make music. All that stuff is not necessarily in one developer's wheelhouse anyway, so it's a little bit much to expect. But, you know, I'd always try to envision these things as fully fleshed out projects at the end of the day, even if they aren't or they may never be. But, you know, those are some things that I'd love to see. You know, put an arc, or maybe have some power-ups that would allow you to see an arc of where exactly your pointer is facing. Get those sound effects, get that music in there. I'd love to see a little bit more fleshed out of a story, maybe some diversity in the environments as well. I mean, I'm sure these are all things the developer would have thought of anyway, but they sort of seem like the things that would definitely give the game quite a bit to it. Not sure if I'm going to be able to get around this. It's definitely pretty tricky at times. The goal seems to be to fall down into this hole here, and the other thing is, since there's only one button that we're using for the entirety of the game, there's not really any camera controls, so if I wanted to try and see what was below, it looks like I'm going to have to fall through that whole pit there, right? So it's going to be kind of experiential how I learn to proceed through this. If indeed I do fall through that, and then I end up not able to, you know, make a move afterward, then there's a good chance that I will just have to start over, which, you know, not the end of the world. Level's not particularly long or anything, but could be a little bit frustrating for a player if you're trying to be good at this. But, you know, hardcore mode, I guess, should represent something, right? Should be a little bit of a challenge to it. I'm really trying to get a good arc over the top of this, but I can't seem to figure out where the proper spot is to have that happen, because, like I said, no visual indicators make it difficult to visualize exactly where the ball's going to go, since it seems like you're in sort of a different place every time you land. And it's not just a direct extension of like where you put the mouse. You actually have to adjust a little bit for the drop that happens like that. And you can't always tell exactly how far the ball's going to go. So, oh, I think we finally did it. And, oh, what happened? I don't know what just happened there. I seem to have fallen off the world. And then I think I threw a ball, and I think it landed here, but then I respawned and died at the same time, so I guess the game just kind of ended. But anyway, I think that's fine. That's a good spot to end anyway. Give you guys a reason to keep playing it if you do want to see what's further into the hardcore mode. I am curious to know if maybe there's more to it story-wise, if you happen to make it through this mode. So go check it out if you'd like. Ultimate Wish, link is going to be in the description for the video, and if you want to play it, it happens right in your browser, so you don't even have to go download anything or anything like that. And you can give it a try and let me know what you think. Let me know if there was anything beyond what I got to show you guys on video. And maybe I'll want to go back and finish it off as well. It's a cool little premise. I think it's a fun game. I think this definitely has potential. Like I said, the visuals are quite pretty. It's a unique concept, so I think it's got a lot of the framework that goes into making a strong game. And for 48 hours, I think it's a job well done. I mean, I know I sounded like I had a lot of negative things to say, but I didn't really mean them to be all that serious. It's kind of the thing you have to understand when I'm talking about a game made in 48 hours. Please take pretty much everything I say with a grain of salt. I'm not really being all that critical. I'm just sort of going over some of the points that I think would make sense to go for if you went ahead with things. But anyway, go check it out. Again, let me know what you think. Leave any support you can. I do appreciate likes if you think I deserve them. And be sure to come back again tomorrow, and also check out my social media links if you'd like. New episodes are every single day. All of that stuff, youtube.com/RockLeeSmile if you want to see more. So I will see you next time, and thank you so much for watching. Have a good night.